The proof is in the pudding, and the pudding in this case is a football. Boom! Eat my goal! The goalie has got football pie all over his shirt.
Welcome to this episode of the Down the Pub podcast. I'm delighted to be joined by Hfx Wanderers' new goalkeeper, Yann Fillion. Welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're all really excited. We've had Christian in goal since season 1, so it's going to be and we've had Kieran for like the last 2 years, so it's going to be different to see somebody else between the sticks. So everybody here was super excited. There was even, I don't know if you saw it, there was a thing in Reddit back in 2020 where there was rumors of you coming to Halifax. Was that you starting that yourself? Was that Zach Secunda?
No, I think so. I had signed for a small club in Finland, and Zach had signed with the same club at the same time. And I think they just made a mistake in the like communication, I guess, you know. It was just one of those where I like wake up one day and I'm like, no, I did not sign for Halifax. So I actually went on Twitter and, you know, wrote a couple messages, you know, just updating people about my situation, because I know Canucks Abroad had been following me for a while and whatever, so I just wanted to clear up the situation. But I guess 3 years later,
yeah,
the move finally happened. So
we spent 3 years trying to convince you to come here. So so before we get into the main part, we normally just do like a few kind of quick fire questions just to get things started. So what's your favorite Finnish food?
You know what? I'm not big on Finnish food. A lot of like sauces and a lot of like it's pretty heavy. The one meat that I really enjoyed when I was there was reindeer, which I had never tried before.
Okay.
So I'll go with that. That's my one discovery food wise in Finland that I really enjoyed.
So what's it like? Is it like really lean, or is it like it tastes like chicken, or?
It's more like beef. It's like more of a red meat. Stronger though, like very like it would be like a very strong beef, I'd say. But yeah, quality meat. Like you can tell, it's, you know, it's not, there's not a bunch of chemicals in there or whatever. You know, it's like very, very pure.
So are we going to see Jan's reindeer farm in Ontario anytime soon?
Not so sure about that one.
What's your favorite sports movie?
Favorite sports movie? Moneyball.
Nice.
A good one. Yeah,
that's definitely a good one. And who was your favorite goalkeeper growing up?
So I'm a Man United fan. So yeah, one of the first ones was probably Van der Sar.
Nice.
Then I moved on to the newer kind of goalkeeping era, and Neuer has probably been my favorite one.
Nice. Van der Sar was an incredible goalkeeper, and like United just went to that next level when they got him. So I guess like the big question everybody's probably be asking is, how did the move to Halifax come about?
So you know what, like we've had the discussions in the past, and then, you know, I know Matt had reached out to my agent a couple of times before. And I was actually on my way out. I was gonna head back to Sweden. I had moved all sorted over there, and I wanted to go meet with the club to see a little bit about the situation and, you know, kind of where I stood. I know they had a keeper that was established, and I wanted to kind of see where I'd fit in. And it was like maybe a week before, so early in January, Matt reached out to my agent again, asked him what the deal was, and asked if I could, you know, have a chat with Patrice. He wanted to kind of present the project and whatnot. So we got our first phone call, and, you know, he sounded very enthusiastic about the project, and he had a lot of just his personality, like the way he spoke was very very intriguing to me. And then so after that phone call, we kind of planned another Zoom for the week after. And he went over the whole project, his vision of the future for the club, for the team, kind of where I would fit in the project. And yeah, it was just a matter of like, he just convinced me on the spot kind of thing. And I was just like, you know what, like, this sounds like the kind of project I want to be a part of. And I've been following the league for a really long time. And I think it's at a point now where it's respected enough that it's not a move of just going back home and just finishing my career. It's a move that you can still use as kind of like a step board. So so yeah, just just the whole project, and like I said, like being able to go from CPL to somewhere even higher after is what really convinced me in the end. Yeah.
Well, you can see, we've had players move on to TFC and Vancouver, and even Nate Ingham is down training with Atletico Madrid's affiliate in Mexico. So there's definitely that chance to move on, so while you're in Finland, did you feel like there was not that opportunity to go to the next level? Like, were you kind of done with Europe, or how did you feel about that?
No, not necessarily. Like, I really enjoyed my time in Finland, and I started out the first year, I was in the second tier, and it was more of a move just to, get back into regular playing time and etc. So I played a year in the second tier, and then it was 2 years in the first year. And after that, I was just like, if I want to move up to a better league than Finland, I need to kind of get out now, because it's like, whether you play 2 seasons somewhere or play 5, like, is there that much of a difference? Probably not. So I've been looking mainly in Sweden and Norway, because the league is like slightly better than it is in Finland. And like I said, like at the end of the day, like the project came around from Halifax, and it was just one that I felt like I could go into, play a big role, and if everything were to go well, maybe move up at some point again, So yeah, I'd say that's mainly the reason why I wanted to move away from Finland. And obviously it's tough when you go from Finland to go into like the top league in Sweden. You need kind of that in between, which could have been the second tier in Sweden, for example, which is, what I was kind of looking at. But CPL, which is, I'd say maybe a little bit, well, it's not the same level exactly, but it's kind of, similar. But the league and the CPL is looked at, very well, in the sense that, like, there's good filming, guys are getting moves, there's MLS, there's many opportunities. So it was just that in the end, Halifax was just a better place for me to go.
So just talking about Patrice there, like, I mean, he's very well spoken. Like I saw him at the press conference, and I've seen interviews he's done since, and you can tell he's a passionate guy, which I can see why you were convinced by him, to be honest. But so where does he kind of see you fitting in? Like, what are you going to be, like a sweeper keeper, or does he just want you to be a shot stopper, or like, where does he kind of see your role being in amongst everything that he's trying to put together?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely the playing out of the back aspect that was very important to him. And last year I wasn't in a team that necessarily built out of the back. 2 years ago we did it a lot in the preseason and coming into the season, but to be honest, we weren't equipped for it. So what I told Patrice is, I can do it. I know the principles of it. I know how to apply it. I have good feet. If you watch my games from last year, I was much more playing long than the year before. But I think all that was very important to him. And then the other big thing that he mentioned was that the backline was going to be very young.
Yep.
There's still obviously some I'm sure there's more signings that are going to come, but as of right now, it's a very, very young backline. So he wanted to have kind of that, leading figure at the back, kind of someone that was going to keep everything together. And yeah, I think that's where, I really come in and can really make a big difference in that team. And then also, I think, just being a little bit older and having a little bit more experience, I think he wanted to bring that as well. Yeah, just to have a little bit more, leadership within the team. And I think I've lived many things. I have many stories, many things I can tell the guys. Like, I made a lot of mistakes, so I've learned from them. But I think just the whole, leader thing, and as well, like my qualities on the pitch, I think are also an important part. But I think that's, goes without saying, kind of thing.
He sounds like he wants you to be like a Peter Schmeichel, just be a bit of an asshole, but kind of just push people around and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to. And I think having somebody with that experience at the back is really going to help those young guys, because the talent is definitely there, because we got to see quite a lot of them like last year, and maybe they just needed that little bit of experience from the goalkeeper just to kind of push them around a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all kind of pans out, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So you kind of touched a little bit there about the CPL and its standing. So I've talked to Jesse Daly. I talked a little bit who's just joined Calvary and stuff like that. So what are you hearing in Europe about the CPL? Like, is it being recognized? Obviously we had Diaz move from Pacific to the Norwegian first top division. So are people starting to take notice of what's happening here?
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing is, if you're in the league and you're playing, that's already a very good thing, because it's a first year league. Might not be as good as, the Swedish top league, for example, where Marco Bustos went, but it's still, it's very well filmed. It's very professional. Everyone's full time. So yeah, it's definitely gaining a lot of traction. And I think, with Canada being in the World Cup as well, you hear more and more. Like, I've received so many messages this off season from guys that I played with that were like, hey man, like, can you introduce me to an agent or someone that can help me get in the league? Like, it seems, from the outside, it just looks like a very interesting place to play. Now, obviously, it's still, not where MLS is. You're not going to see the $5 million moves yet, but slowly and surely, as we see guys like you said, Diaz, like, I think that was a perfect move. He went from, dominating in CPL to dominating in the second tier in Norway, and now it's like, yeah, he can play in the first tier in Norway, definitely. And if you see a couple of those moves every year, then it's awesome for the league and for the players as well, for young players, and even like not so young players like me that now want to go back, because it's like you don't see it as a dead end. That's why, a lot of guys didn't want to go right away, because it was like, yeah, like, maybe if you go, like, who knows, like, the league was unknown, like, no, no one could predict what it was going to be. But now that you see those moves, it's definitely giving guys like me more confidence to go there and being like, no, this is a good move for my football. This is not a life decision. This is for my next career move, essentially. So
I just want to let people know that you're not over the hill and dying. Like, you're 26, right? So like,
yeah.
you kind of said it a bunch of times that like you're older. I was like, Jesus Christ, man, you're 26. That's like a baby for a goalkeeper. But like, so just speaking on Marco Bustos there, like, so obviously he had the big move to Sweden. So what do you think he can expect? Like, what's the brand of football? Like, what's the type of football that they play there? Do you think it'll suit his game?
Yeah, I think it's a hybrid. I think his team is probably one of the, it's a smaller club. It's a club that used to be in the third tier. Kind of just, got promoted, I think, two times in a row. You can definitely expect some very, very good players in that league. I lived on an island between Finland and Sweden last year. So we were playing in the Finnish league, but it was actually a Swedish speaking place. And Stockholm was about like 5 hours with the boat. So I went to go watch a couple games, a couple derbies. So I went to watch AIK against Djurgården and Hammarby against Djurgården. And like, they're MLS quality teams, if not even higher. 30,000 people in the stadium, fans, like everything, you know, like it's kind of everything you can dream of as a football player. So for him to be able to go there is going to be a great experience. Now, you know, I think the football, it's going to be a little bit more counterattacks. Probably, you know, they're going to have the ball a little bit less than the other team. But I can definitely see him doing well if he sticks with it and can adapt, because I think that'll be the most important part. It's a place where, especially with a team that might not be, you know, upper mid-table kind of, it's like every game's important. So if you're not delivering, like we don't have 5 games to give you for you to, you know, find your pace kind of thing. But I hope for him, and I hope for the league that he does very well, and that'll open even more doors for Canadians to go abroad afterwards.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see how it works out for him. Obviously, he's been one of the top players here in the CPL for the last 4 years, so be interesting to see how he makes out. Not too sure how we can watch Swedish for Premier Division games here in Canada, but I'm sure we'll find a way. So
yeah, we'll find a way.
so just a little bit of your own like history, I guess. So you know what most people don't want to be a goalkeeper like when they're growing up, because obviously like you're just thrown in there and you get the ball belted at your face every time, every couple of minutes. So what made you decide to become a goalkeeper and not be a midfielder? Was it somebody who told you, listen, like you're a terrible striker, we need to play in goal?
No, actually I played I was an outfield player when I first started, and it was I was 9 years old, maybe, yeah, 9 years old, and we're just kind of sitting with the team, and you know, we were about to have our first competitive game, and the coach asked, like, does anyone want to go in goal? Kind of no one raised their hand, so I was like, you know what, like I'll take one for the team, like I'll just put my arm up, you know. So, and I think from that point on, I just, you know, probably had a good game, couple good games, and like I enjoyed it. The parents were like, oh, you know, like encouraging me, you're doing well done, and kind of just stuck with it. And then I think when I was 13, I just, you know, I became a full-time goalkeeper. So yeah, that was a little bit how I started with being a goalkeeper, I guess.
Just thrown into the deep end. I love it. So you know, you kind of grew up in the Montreal youth system, and I know you played for FC Montreal in the USL and stuff like that. So how did that academy kind of shape you as a keeper, and you know, helped develop your style of football?
Yeah, I think so I grew up in Ottawa, and it was a lot of like, you know, like smaller sessions, like 7, 8 keepers, just goalkeeping sessions. That's where I kind of got the base. But when I moved to Montreal, it was really like, you know, first of all, it was full time, so that obviously made a big difference. I'd say I was kind of a late bloomer as well. So just the being full time, and also, you know, from a tactical point of view, like when you're young and you're just playing club football, club soccer, you're not putting the emphasis on, you know, tactical elements of the game. You're more just, you know, doing your technical work, like playing, enjoying it, and whatnot. But once you go to Montreal, it's like, okay, now everyone's there to become a professional, essentially. That's where, you know, the whole like tactical part of the game comes into play. And I was lucky to have some very good goalkeeper coaches as well when I was in Montreal. Owen Brown was my first one, and then Jack Stern, who became the goalkeeper coach for the first team, and then moved on to FC Cincinnati, I believe, and he's with the Brian in the Premier League now. So that's you know, without Montreal, I don't know if we'd be having this conversation right now, and I'm definitely grateful to have had the chance to have that opportunity to go there and spend 3 years there. And even the last season, it wasn't the most successful, if you want, in terms of, you know, I played 5 games in USL, would have liked to play more, and I got released at the end of the season. And but once again, it was like all the lessons that I've learned within those 3 years that gave me the tools to go and play at the next level in Europe.
So how did the FC Zurich thing happen?
Funny enough, it was like a lot of just like me doing the work. Like agents weren't really. It's not like like you see nowadays where it's, you know, you're 18 and you have an agent. Like I was 19. I had someone approach me to be my agent, and you know, I gave him a couple months to try and like sort something out. Nothing came. So it was just me like messaging people that I knew from before, and I got a trial in France through a friend of mine, and he told me that I could go and stay with him, basically crash on his couch for a couple weeks in France. And at the same time, I was messaging clubs here and there. And one day, I just got a phone call from the goalkeeper coach in Zurich, and he asked me if I wanted to come down for a week or two, so they could have a look at me. And so obviously, I was gonna go to France anyway, so I was like, you know, come to Switzerland for sure. I had a 2 week trial there. Week trial there. The week after, I was going to France with Auxerre. They were in League Two at the time. And while I was in France, the goalkeeper coach from Zurich called me and said, you know, like the coach was very happy with me, and he'd like to see me. I think there was like 2 months left at the end of the season, so he wanted to take a look at me for a longer period of time. You know, see me in game scenarios, and if everything was all right, then they'd sign me. So I went back there for 2 months, and at the end of the 2 months, they just offered me a contract, and I signed it.
Wow. So you're doing all that off the back of your own dime? Like you were basically paying for flights, paying for accommodations, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. I mean, I was lucky. My parents, you know, they helped me out for the first couple months over there, and I had saved up a little bit of money as well. You know, working camps in the summer and like stuff like that. And yeah, so I was basically, I think for like, well, for I was in Europe for 3 months because I had to leave because of my visa, you know. So yeah, it was like, I think that's the best way to do it. Like every year I have young Canadian keepers reaching out to me, and I, you know, I'll always take the time to give them a phone call, you know, let them know how it works. And at the end of the day, like you have to bet on yourself. Like, you know, you can't expect FC Zurich to be calling every day and being like, hey, I'll pay everything for you, like come down here, you know. It's just not how it works. Like you have to go and do it yourself sometimes. So yeah.
It just sounds like it's a bit of a hustle. You know what I mean? You kind of have to, because like not everybody's gonna, like, this is the thing. I guess like not everybody is gonna get that dream move to Liverpool, and you know, if you want to make a go of being a professional, you kind of have to take those chances. So it's kind of interesting.
No, 100%. And also, you know, the CPL wasn't there, so it's, you know, nowadays it's guys are gonna come out of the Montreal Impact Academy or CF Montreal, and they have 3 CPL clubs willing to sign them, but it just wasn't the same at the time.
So you know, once you were at FC Zurich, you signed kind of a longer contract. I think was it like 3 or 4 years or something like that? Your contract?
5 years, yeah, 5 years.
Yeah, which is a long time for a young goalkeeper. But you spent like a lot of time like out on loan. So was that them like just saying to you like, you know, we don't see in our first team plans yet, we need you to go, or was that you saying, I need first team football, and I need to be playing? And
it was a little bit of both. The coach that signed me got sacked 2 weeks later. Sami Hfx, very big name.
Oh yeah, Liverpool defender, right?
Yeah, so it's also a little bit of the reason why I ended up going to Finland. So he really, you know, he really believed in me, and he was the one that really wanted to bring me along, and there was a whole big plan kind of thing, you know, like the first year they wanted to send me out to Finland, actually to the first league there to get playing time, and then come the second year, you know, compete. But after a couple months in the first, you know, a few months after I signed, basically I got a wrist injury. So I got a surgery on that, and then when I came back, I was looking for playing time. Now at an agent, so I spoke with my agent. You know, told him like, listen, like, what's the best thing to do here? Because I'm only gonna be training. They signed like the coach brought in his players. You know, I'm not gonna be playing here. Can't play with the second team because of my visa. You know, how are we gonna go about it? And a small club in Sweden took me in on loan, so I played the season there, and then it was kind of a little bit the same thing. I got very unlucky those 2-3 years. So from 2016 to 2018, I was injured a lot. So I got an elbow surgery towards the end of my year in Sweden. So I was out for a couple months, got loaned out to Norway, didn't play so much, got loaned out to Switzerland to essentially be a backup, hurt my knee, got surgery again. And then I was on my way back, and I did the end of my recovery in Toronto. So that's when I signed with the second team in Toronto. Essentially, like I was out for about 6 months, and I did the last 3 months in Toronto, and then they offered to sign me, to give me a couple games to kind of get back into shape. So spend the year in Toronto, and then after that season, I was kind of done with Zurich and being sent everywhere, and just going on loan all the time. Like I really wanted to establish myself in one place, and it was so tough with the loan situations. So that's when I broke my contract, and then that's when the kind of, I want to say, the second phase of my career started, and the most successful one so far, when I went to Finland. I've been been playing the last 3 years, so it's been a very good career move, I'd say, to go to Finland. And in the end, like it didn't work out with Zurich. I would have loved for it to work out, and who knows where I'd be playing. But at the end of the day, like I learned so much in those years, and then I took all of what I learned, brought it to Finland, got better, kept working at it, and now I plan on doing the same thing coming to Halifax.
So, do the Wanderers know about all these injuries? I'm joking.
You can ask Matt.
Well, it's another sign of like having that bit of faith in yourself to, like, you have a contract and you broke it to go and like get first team football. So what was that first year like playing in Finland, and like trying to adapt to new culture, new language, all that kind of stuff? What was that like for you?
Nordic countries are quite international. So you can speak English. There's, not language was never an issue. And it was, I knew it was a move, kind of like a backward, or probably a backwards move. Like it was the second tier. The first year wasn't the greatest level. But it was, I was going to get playing time. I felt like that's what I needed. And I needed to just love the game again for what it is. And just at its pure form, where it's like just going out, training, enjoying it, playing games on the weekend, like not worrying too much about where the next move is going to be, etc. So we had a great locker room, great group of guys. I loved every minute of that year, and that was the first COVID year as well. So we're in a small village of like 15,000 people. Like we had a blast, and it was just the boys. Like that's what it was. Couldn't go to the restaurant. Like there was nothing to do, but we had so much fun with each other, and it showed on the pitch as well. I think we were fighting for promotion all year, and I think in the end we weren't really in it. I think we finished third or fourth, but it was a very, very good year. And I ended up, without even forcing it, just getting a call from the coach of the team that got promoted, and he's like, "Listen, I want you to be my keeper next year." And it was a no-brainer for me. When you have a coach calling you and telling you that, like it's what more could you ask?
That's awesome, though. It's kind of nice to hear that you were able to have that season where you could just like not even everything else outside of it, just enjoying the game for what it is and just being like a player. You know what I mean? Like I think that's important. I think it gets missed an awful lot sometimes when you're kind of worrying about your contract every 6 months or whatever it is. So
yeah, I agree, definitely. So just for that reason, it's it was a great move in my career, like a great, and it's never too late to not go back and start again, but go back and start again, basically.
So just a little bit more before about Halifax, just before I let you go. So have you been watching some of the games? Like, have you seen the atmosphere? Like that's one of our biggest selling points here is the atmosphere in the ground. Obviously, we play on a grass pitch, which is always nice. Stadium's a little bit rickety, I guess, would be a good description, but it's quaint, So have you had a chance to check some stuff out?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've really been following the league for a couple of years, so no, like everyone tells me like Halifax game day experience is as good as it gets. So I'm definitely excited for that. Even playing in Finland, it's a hockey country.
Yeah.
We have like last year, I think the most we've had was maybe 4,500 people at the games. Um, so no, I'm really looking forward to it. And also just the what's the word? The warmth I felt from the fans from when they announced my signature last week, I think.
Yeah.
Was unbelievable. I never had that kind of reaction. That many messages, and from the fans, also from friends and family that are happy for me to be home as well. But like the fans, like I think I got like 50 messages from fans, like
That's awesome.
being like, we're happy to have you. Welcome to Halifax, etc., etc. So I'm just looking forward to getting down there. It's a long way. Like every day, I look at the calendar, I'm like, is it coming? Put my boots on now.
So have they told you like when preseason's going to start, or?
They did. I don't know if I'm supposed to
Okay.
say anything, so.
All right. I just have a couple of questions from some listeners, if you don't mind answering them for them.
Yeah.
So this one is from Denton. So Denton's probably the most famous fan here in Halifax. He dresses up as a pirate guy and he goes to the away game. So you'll get to meet him. So on your last few teams, your fellow keepers were never more than a year or two younger than you, if not older. Now, in Halifax, we're expecting to not just be the starter, but also a mentor for the younger keepers like Rushanas, who will be in the squad. How's he looking forward to playing the role of mentor? Was there anything that senior keepers did for him when he was a rookie that he'll try to copy or avoid?
Definitely. I've actually from my Zurich days had a very, very good mentor in Zurich. His name was Andres Vanins. He was the national team keeper for Latvia.
Nice.
I think just like I'm more of the type of guy that's gonna lead by example. I'll be there early. I'll do the work before the training to make sure I'm ready. I'm gonna be in the gym after or stretching, foam rolling, etc. But definitely looking forward to being the one that can share the wisdom and share the things that I was taught by other keepers. So I think especially in a goalkeeping, in the goalkeeping position, it's a lot of, we're a small group. Like it's a lot of like taking stuff from the people that you meet and from the people that you train with. So no, I'm definitely looking forward to it. And that was also something that Patrice mentioned to me, and that I felt like I want to take that on. Being a little bit more of a leader when it comes to that. So no, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I haven't met Aiden, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to being that person, if you want.
Nice. This is from Halifax Steve. What's been your best or most memorable save of your career so far?
I'll go with one this year because I think that's probably I think it's the most memorable for my last season. It was a header. We were winning 1-0. It was like the 50th minute maybe, winning 1-0. It was a cross that came in to around a little bit in front, I say, of the penalty spot, and the guy got like a nice strong header to it. And it's one of those where you're just kind of going, you're like, I'm not getting to it, Then like next thing you know, you just see the fingers on it. I think that may have happened like 3 or 4 times in my career where I make a save and I'm like, how the hell did I I wasn't even diving to make the save. Like, how did I make the save? So recently that was probably the biggest one, and we were in a relegation battle at the time as well. It was a very, very important 3 points. So just because of the context and whatnot, I'll say that one for now.
Yeah, you'll have to try and send me the link to it on YouTube if it's available, so we can share. And his last one, do you have any superstitions in terms of your pre-match routine?
I have a couple. I can't. I wouldn't say they're. What's the word you used?
So superstitions.
Superstitions. I wouldn't say they're superstitions. More just like habits, kind of thing. So sorry to my future neighbors, but I'll play music really loud before I go to the stadium. Usually go for like some like Chris Stapleton, like kind of like very loud, like yeah. Okay, so I'll definitely, yeah, that's the music I listen to like just before heading out to the stadium. Apart from that, like the food I eat, but I don't think that's anything special. I guess I'll always have like 2-3 coffees in the like 2 hours leading up to the game. Red Bull before the game. Otherwise, I'm pretty standard. Not a super superstitious guy, but you'll definitely catch some of the things that I do if you want. Some of the habits that I do.
I love it. So then, just the last one from me just before I let you go. You're going to play in a 5-a-side tournament. From the players you've played with, who makes your team?
5-a-side.
Yep. So you can obviously include yourself in goal.
I want to be the coach.
I love it.
In the goal, I'll go with Jonathan Viscosi, Canadian guy playing he's in Finland now, so he's also a little bit of a mentor for me. We speak a lot on the phone, goalkeeping related stuff. So he'll be my keeper. I'll give a big shout out to Zach Secunda, Hfx Wanderers. I want my friends close, So.
Love it.
So he'll be. We'll play Zach in the midfield. He's playing there right now. I'll put another midfielder. His name's Davide Chiumiento. He actually played in Vancouver for maybe a year or two. So he was in Zurich. I've never seen someone that good with the ball. He just walks with the ball, but has insane feet. Brought up through the like Juventus academy. Wow. So yeah, he was one of them, probably the most talented player I've ever had the chance of sharing the pitch with. You know what? I'll add another one of my friends in there, Fabio Morelli from my Montreal days. He actually came to visit a couple of weeks ago, so he plays in Switzerland now.
Nice.
He'll be there. You know what? I'll go with my other buddy, Abdou Samaki.
Nice.
Valor center back. There you go.
I love it. So can you just recap it for me?
Yeah, recap it. So in goal, we have Viscosi. Center back, I'll have Abdou. Then in the midfield, Zach and Davide. And who did I say on top? On top, I'll put my buddy Fabio.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, man, for doing this. I really appreciate it. We're really excited to have you here in Halifax and hopefully see you at the grounds.
Yes, definitely. Looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries, buddy.
Votes, please. Right vote, please. Time to drink us, folks. Get out. Out to vote.